Okay, we are back in the kitchen for another simple recipe. Today we are going to try mini s'mores pies. And the list of ingredients we are going to be working with: you will need a box of refrigerated pie crust. You will need 1/2 cup of graham cracker crumbs. That's about 8 cracker squares finely crushed. You'll also need 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and that will be for the crust. For the filling, you will need 1/2 cup of marshmallow cream, and we're using the marshmallow cream instead of marshmallows because marshmallows tend to dissolve, evaporate when you bake them in the oven. And this stuff has got some kind of fancy ingredient that doesn't do that, but I think we have discussed that in a previous recipe. You'll also need 2 tablespoons of softened cream cheese, and usually they'll tell you right on the back of your cream cheese how much you need. Right here's 2 ounces. Alright, and you'll also need 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. And that's the ingredients we're working with. You'll also need to preheat your oven at 425 degrees. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to take your pie crust out of the box, and this is what they'll look like. They're usually in a little plastic tube here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to follow the instructions of how to soften your pie crust. They should be on the box somewhere. Usually you'll leave your pie crust out for about 15 or 20 minutes just so it's good and softened, and when you go to unravel it, it doesn't tear into pieces. So now we wait for 15 to 20 minutes. Now we are going to get some parchment paper and put it over our pan. Unroll your pie crust, and you're going to need a 3-inch biscuit cutter. And if you don't happen to have a 3-inch biscuit cutter, a glass around the same size will work. I don't have a biscuit cutter, so I'm going to use one of Kennedy's new sippy cups that we just bought. And I'm going to cut out circles with your dough. I'm just going to form the circles first, and then I'll cut around to get them out. Minnie is helping us cook today. Alright. You could probably get one more on here, but I cut them all funky looking. So I've got 3, 6, 7, 8, and I think the recipe said you'll get 9 to 10 on a sheet of the pie crust. I don't know, but I've got this many, 8. Alright, here we go. We've got our pie rounds cut out. Now we're going to dip them in the butter mixture with a little bit of graham crackers. So go ahead and get a knife, or you can just gently just raise your dough up and get your circles out. Oh, and that excess dough that you had from your first round of cuts, roll it back out and cut more rounds. And whatever you do, make sure you cut an equal amount of pie rounds. Remember, you're going to need 2 for each pie. Just need an equal amount. The next step is to brush each one of your pie rounds with a little bit of that melted butter, both sides. Okay, now in a small bowl, you're going to take your graham cracker crumbs, and you're going to take that 1/4 cup of sugar, and we're just going to mix it up really good. And what we're going to do is we're going to dip our butter basted pie rounds in this mixture just to get it a good crumb coating. See, now all of our pie rounds have that yummy melted butter. Now we're just going to take it and dip it in this mixture. We want to coat it really good on both sides. Just like that. And now we can lay it right back on our baking sheet. And do that to all of your pie rounds. You'll want melted butter both sides, and then dip it in the mixture both sides. Okay, now it is time to make the filling. I've already put my 2 tablespoons of sugar into the bowl. Now we're going to have to add the 2 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1/2 cup of the marshmallow fluff, and 1/2 cup of your chocolate chips. And we're going to mix that until it's good and smooth, and then we can spoon it onto our mini pie formed circles. Which that didn't make sense. The pie rounds, well, that's pretty much the same thing. Anyways, you get it. Okay, and here is your filling mixture. It's that cream cheese, the marshmallow fluff, a little bit of sugar, and your chocolate chips. And I may or may not have had just a little bit, and it tastes awesome. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna place heaping tablespoons in each of your pie rounds. Well, not in every one of them, because you'll need 2 for each pie, remember, so you'll need half of them with the mixture, and then we're going to put the other pie round on top. So like I said, just put a good amount of your filling on one of your pie rounds. That's not enough, and of course I'm using a fork when I should be using a spoon, but this is what I had. Alright, so I'm going to do my mixture on half of my pie rounds. It's ooey gooey and messy, but it should be so good. Get on there. Look, ew. Okay, now we're just going to take our other pie rounds and we're going to place on top of each one. Don't worry about smashing them down yet. There's one for you, and one for you. Alright, now they look like little sandwiches. But now we are going to pinch them together with a fork. I'm going to go ahead and get a clean fork because I just used mine. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a fork and we're going to go around the edges and just kind of make sure they're sealed so most of our filling stays in. So just press your fork down all the way around. And if some happens to come out while you're doing this, you are free to pick it up and eat it. Be like, oops. All right. Now they're ready, and we are ready for them to go in the oven. Here is what they look like once they have come out of the oven, and I baked them 425 for 10 minutes or until they are good and golden brown. And as you can see back there, I've already bit into one. I didn't bite into it, but I did cut into it, and they are great. You do want to make sure you cool them before you eat them because they are quite hot, and you don't want that chocolate and that marshmallow mixture stuck to your tongue, if you know what I mean. But here they are, not as pretty as the original recipe, but it's all in the taste, right guys? I hope you try them and I hope you love them, and that's it for today.